Good morning, everyone. At this time, I'd like to call the Board of Education meeting to order, and I would like to ask our board members to identify themselves for the record as I call your name. Todd Ferrante is present. William Buchanan.
Present.
Katie Addis.
Present.
John Andes.
Present.
William Gordy.
Present.
Elaine McComas.
Present.
And Donald Smack.
Present.
We do have a quorum. Can I have a motion to approve today's board meeting agenda and a second, please?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Smack.
Second.
A second by Ms. McComas. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. And now I need a motion to enter into closed.
Todd, I would also like to abstain since I wasn't here for last month.
Okay, so we have Ms. Addis is going to abstain from that vote. Now I'd like to have a motion to enter into closed session under general provisions of Article 3-305B of the Annotated Code of Maryland to approve closed session minutes from the previous month, Section 3-305B1, to discuss appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluations of appointees, employees over whom it has jurisdiction, or any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. Can I have a motion to enter into closed session and a second?
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Andes.
Second.
And a second by Mr. Smack. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are now in closed session. Let's try it again. Good afternoon, everyone. As we reconvene this Board of Education meeting, I want to remind everyone that we still have a quorum. A closed session meeting was held today pursuant to the general provisions of Article 3-305B of the Annotated Code of Maryland to approve previous closed session minutes to discuss personnel matters. I have with me Pastor Zachary Brown from the United Methodist Church in Snow Hill, and let me see if I might have missed the board agenda here. Yeah, I think I do have it. Here we go. So I'll get that after I have Pastor Brown read us the invocation. Pastor Brown, thank you for being with us today. Please stand, join me for the invocation, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. Let us pray. God, we thank you for loving us, for caring for us. Continue to be with us and to teach us how to care for our children, that they might become people who we would look up to as well, because they first were able to look up to us and to you. Amen.
Pastor Brown, thank you for those kind words, and thank you for being with us today. Thank you. Okay. And now, as we move forward, I'm going to, lost my place. There we go. I need an approval, a motion to approve today's open session board minutes, and a second.
Motion?
Motion by Mr. Smack.
Second.
Second by Mr. Buchanan. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'd also like to recuse since I was not here
And
last meeting.
Miss Addis would like to recuse because she was not present at the last board meeting. But so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Taylor for the superintendent's report. Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrante, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the close of summer. It's hard to believe. Not yet. Not yet, though. My report today is going to be centered around our preparations to kick off the 2024-25 school year. It's hard to believe, but the next time this Board of Education meets, we will have been in session in school for a little over 2 weeks. So it's going to be here. But let's not jump ahead too quickly. Our 2024 summer academies were once again widely successful, with students engaged in a wide variety of activities geared toward closing learning gaps, as well as enriching students with STEM and arts programming. I want to give a special shout out today to our STAT camp, which has been an incredible opportunity for our middle and high school students to have truly hands-on learning experiences. I want to thank our county for being a great partner in funding this worthwhile program for our older students. I also want to share some wonderful news for our families who are listening and those of you here today, that at Berlin Intermediate and Steve Decatur Middle Schools, in regards to their after-school and summer program, in case anyone missed it. While the reduced funding in our budget threatened to shutter these opportunities at these schools, our amazing grant department and coordinator Tamara Mills worked diligently to secure $400,000, a $400,000 grant renewable for 3 years to provide these critical learning opportunities to these students. And I think we are very, very excited for those two schools and this opportunity, and I congratulate everyone who had a hand in it, and I think that deserves a round of applause. Of course, this month continues to excite as we have our new educators and staff on site last week and this week for this year's hiring class orientation. It's going on right now as we speak. And on this coming Monday, all of our faculty and staff will return to get our classroom and schools ready for students to arrive on September the 3rd. I hope I can speak on behalf of this board that we are all looking forward to getting out to our schools for our first day tour to greet our students, their families, and our staff. And I've been notified just 2 weeks ago that the president of the Maryland State Board of Education called my office and is going to join us on that Tuesday morning. Not the entire day, because I don't think he wants to run with us, but he's going to join us for a few stops along the way. I have a feeling he's in Ocean City for the weekend, and on his way back, he wants to stop in. So we're excited to have him go to a couple schools with us. Be sure to follow us on our social media as we cross this county. And as always, we encourage all our families to share your first day photos, of school photos that is, with us using hashtag Worcester, hashtag welcome back Worcester, ! Tongue twister there. And I know we are all excited to get our first day of school going, and as I said earlier, it's right around the corner. So thank you. I see all of my principals and some of our assistant principals sitting in the audience today. They're here to be recognized in a few minutes. And I want to take this moment as a superintendent of schools to thank the 14 of you and the assistants sitting out there for your hard work this summer in preparing our schools. It's not on script. I know what it takes to get a school ready. I know my executive team understands what it takes to get a school ready. And I know all of you with your custodial staffs and just a plethora of people have worked very hard this summer and are still working hard so that when those 6,800 plus kids come back on September the 3rd, they come back to an environment that's welcoming, loving, and conducive for learning. So thank you all very, very much from me and from this Board of Education for what you do each and every day. Now back to our president, Mr. Ferrante.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. And now it's time to welcome our 2024-2025 student representatives who are joining us today to present their monthly updates from their schools. And I believe today we're starting with Teresa from Pocomoke High School.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrante. Thank you, Mr. Ferrante. Good afternoon, Board of Education members and executive team. We wrapped up an enriching and well-attended summer academy at the end of July. We had almost 80 students in attendance, including 20 students who participated in driver's education. As academic achievement results recently came in, we have much to celebrate as our school improvement teams have been diving into data. We have doubled our enrollment of students taking advanced placement courses while, at the same time, increased our rate of proficiency. Standardized test scores are increasing with English 10 scores among the highest in the state. Average GPA rose and behavior referrals decreased. The hard work of students, families, and staff are demonstrated across many data points, and we are so proud. Pocomoke Athletics is full force with the beginning of fall season. August 14th was an exciting day at Pocomoke High School as we welcomed student athletes to the field, courts, and track. We had our first play day on Saturday and are excited to see how this season unfolds. We can't wait to watch our sports teams compete and their sportsmanship shine. Our educators have worked hard this summer, immersed in professional learning opportunities. In addition to the workshops offered by county coordinators, supervisors, and executive leadership, staff attended 10 summer learning opportunities right at Pocomoke High School. We are grateful for our devoted staff who go above and beyond to meet the needs of all learners. Today, we hosted Senior Warrior Day for members of the class of 2025 and families. On Thursday, August 22nd, Pocomoke Area Schools new teachers and PHS Drumline will be going to neighborhoods for a meet and greet, as well as a book bag and school supply giveaway. This week, we are surprising graduates who passed AP assessments with yard signs to celebrate their accomplishment. Current students who pass AP assessments will be given their sign and celebrated at our beginning of the year pep rally. Altogether, 54 AP yard signs will decorate the yard of students. Next week is New Warrior Day, and our open house is on Thursday, August 29th. We are looking forward to welcoming staff and students back into our building for another year of preparing students for post-secondary success. Pocomoke Community School students and staff are grateful for the continued support of our Board of Education and executive team. On to the Worcester Technical High School Board of Education report. Number 1, Stat Camp operated throughout the month of July and was a great success. Student and parent survey results are in, and there was an overwhelming number of positive remarks. One student stated, "I am so glad that I got to learn new skills and now I have an idea of what I want to do with life." Another student shared, "I got to do so many things that I haven't done before, like using a soldering iron, how to use a jigsaw, fly drones around the school, and program a plasma cutter." Parents stated that this camp has encouraged my child to pursue classes at Worcester Tech. Another parent shared, "My child is enjoying learning new skills that he hopes will turn into a future career." Worcester Technical High School would like to thank the Worcester County Commissioners, the Worcester County Board of Education, Mr. Taylor, Dr. Wallace, Ms. Tamara Mills, and Worcester Technical High School staff for making the camp a big success. 2, Skills USA did extremely well at nationals. Robotics took 2nd, Urban Search and Rescue took 3rd, American Spirit took 4th, Automotive Light took 5th, Criminal Justice and Job Interview / Advertising and Design took 6th, and Computer Programming took 8th. Thank you to Rick Steffens, Crystal Bunting, Phil Cropper, Tammy Hearn, Kelly Clark, Denise Costin, Mary Miller, April Powell, and Dr. Hanson, along with all the teachers and staff who train, coach, pushed, and travel with students. Approximately 35% of students who attended Worcester Tech are a part of Skills USA. Increasing skill membership will be a goal for the 2024 to 2025 school year. At the state FFA convention, Worcester Technical High School's FFA program took first place in the Agricultural Issues Forum and will be moving on to the Nationals this fall. We also have a student earn the state's FFA degree. We would like to congratulate agricultural science teacher Miss Jessie Flores and her students. Congratulations to Mr. Miller and staff and our HOSA student winners. We had students perform well in forensic science, healthy living, medical spelling, biotechnology, and clinical laboratory science. AP testing results came in and 69% of all Worcester Technical High School students passed with a 3 or higher. Great job to our students and teachers, and a special shout out to Ms. Singwan, because 100% of her students passed the AP physics exam.
That's great.
Worcester Technical High School would like to thank our custodial staff for their patience and hard work. They had to work around Stat Camp, the several building maintenance projects, and the building usage throughout the summer. The buildings look good and is open for business. Now on to Chloe.
Good afternoon. Snow Hill High School is getting ready for a busy fall season. Here's an overview of recent and upcoming events highlighting the exceptional dedication and achievements of our JROTC program. Last month, cadets Richardson, Lake, Kerr, and Basher attended an aviation STEM camp at Randolph-Macon Academy, where they earned a drone for their school. Master Sergeant Gunnery Jadwin completed a Raider instructor course from July 22nd to 26th, laying the groundwork for a new Raider team. Earlier this month, cadets Richardson, Carpenter, St. Pierre, and Goddard led the Blessing of the Combines parade as a color guard. Last week, JROTC hosted a first-year cadet camp for 21 participants. This Saturday, August 24th, 7 cadets will assist at the Iron Furnace 50 bike ride. Additionally, band camp is currently in full swing, and we are delighted to see the incredible level of student involvement and enthusiasm. Meanwhile, a remarkable 161 student athletes are registered for fall athletics. Coach Hammond, in his second year, has grown the football program to 54 athletes, allowing Snow Hill to revive its JV football program for the first time since 2014, with 5 games scheduled. The women's volleyball team aims to build on their recent success, having reached the 1A East Region second championship for the past 3 seasons and winning the region in 2022. They have a mix of talented returners and promising freshmen. The men's soccer program welcomes new head coach Brian Watson, who brings extensive experience from both local and international soccer. We're excited for a strong fall season, starting with our home event, the Hall of Fame football game, on Friday, September 6th, where we will induct Mr. Buddy Shockley, Mr. Danny Hudson, and the 1989 men's basketball team into the Athletic Hall of Fame. The counseling office is also gearing up for another exciting school year. We've started by welcoming Mrs. Nicole West as our new administrative assistant. Today and tomorrow, we will host 2 sessions of Senior SOAR Day. Seniors and their families will have the opportunity to meet with their counselor to meet important senior-related topics and deadlines. A 3rd session will be available via Zoom on Wednesday, August 21st, for those who are unable to attend in person. Next week, on Wednesday, August 28th, we will host our annual Big Bash. All students will receive their iPads and will have the opportunity to get their class schedules and meet with their teachers. On Thursday, August 29th, incoming freshmen, along with their families, are invited to our Rising Eagles freshman orientation. Students will learn about Snow Hill High School, interact with peer mentors, visit their classrooms, and meet their teachers. After School Academy is excited to offer a fitness strength training session, driver's education, a new podcasting program, and our Kitchen on a Cart program for all students in grades 9 through 12. Again, this year we will focus on academics, enrichment, and college and career readiness. Now I'm passing it to Luke from Stephen Decatur High School.
Thank you, Chloe, and good morning, everyone. Neither the heat nor the summer have slowed things down at Stephen Decatur High School. Looking back on July, we had a very successful summer academy that included the enrichment and academic programs of media and mind-bending math, freshman academy and the arts, SAT preparation, school links, orientation, and academic support. While doing cross-curricular instruction, we were able to construct a giant icosahedron, which included 20 equilateral faces, 12 vertices, and 30 edges of fiberglass panels. It was decorated with the geometric poetry symbols and representations of the Seahawk Nation, Worcester County, and Maryland. Students also created iMovie entries for the annual Media Expo. We had over 80 participants, including dozens of National Honor Society and other volunteers, and we had a 100% success rate for our credit recovery students. Our summer theater camp and various youth sports camps were also extremely successful. It was a great welcoming our future Seahawks into our hallways and building their confidence on and off the stage, courts, and fields. Throughout the summer, our school counselors have been busy finalizing schedules. Teachers have been in and out of the building for professional development, PLCs, and school improvement planning. Our class advisors are planning elections for the beginning of the school year, and our multiple Honor Society organizations are collaborating on an exciting community event this coming October. Meanwhile, we've had all hands on deck preparing our building for the start of the school. Looking forward, we have over 400 athletes working hard each day preparing for the fall sports seasons, and we have our talented musicians coming in for preseason band camp. We are also excited to welcome our new staff members into the building, members of the class of 2025 for senior portraits, SAT test takers on August 24th, and over 350 freshmen, along with their parents, family members, National Honor Society, and NJROTC volunteers during our annual Freshman Seahawk Day before the official start of school. Last but not least, we will welcome our Decatur Nation community during our annual Back to School Night on the first Thursday of the school year. On a final note, we want to give a special shout out to all of our custodians who have worked tremendously hard all summer cleaning and preparing our school for September 3rd. We can't wait to see our students back in classrooms and walking our hallways. Now back to you, Mr. Ferrante.
Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Chloe, and thank you, Teresa, for those incredible updates and the achievements of our students and teachers. And we know it's never, there's always something going on at the school. So we look forward to working with you this upcoming year, throughout the year, and hearing all those updates. But thank you for being with us today. And now I'd like to recognize some audience members. Anyone from the following organizations? Do we have anyone from the WCTA joining us? Good afternoon, Beth. The WCESPA? Worcester County Retired School Personnel. Thank you, Helen. And any SIAC PTA members, anyone from any of those organizations with us? Well, thank you for being here today. I'm now going to turn it over to Mr. Tolbert for our United Way presentation.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Ferrante. Good afternoon. Each year, our school system has a workplace campaign to raise money for our local United Way. And I'm happy to say that our own employees don't only excel in what they do in the role serving our students, but they also excel in their generosity for our community. We had another record-breaking year of over $66,000 raised. So great job, everybody.
Yes.
And, today we have Miss Amanda Healy with the United Way. She probably has a few words to say. She has a big check she's going to give me. And we're going to recognize all the principals or assistant principals. And when you call your name, come up and shake hands. And Mr. Taylor, Mr. Ferrante, and Miss Healy, and stay up here for your picture. So, Miss Amanda.
Thank you, Vince. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for allowing me to crash your party once again. I'm sure you're probably sick of seeing my face. I talked to you all a few weeks ago, but again, I don't think that on behalf of United Way, on all of our board members, all of our staff, we so appreciate Worcester County Public Schools and everything that you do for your community, the heart and soul that you put into your children every single year and throughout the summertime. And then on top of that, you are participating in the United Way campaign. You go above and beyond in all that you do, so thank you. If there's anything that we can do to help support you throughout the school year, partnerships are encouraged, whether we're at your back to school events, we're looking forward to being at Buckingham next week, whether it is working to get some of your schools registered with our Read to Succeed program, Girls on the Run program, getting your pre-K kids, your Judy Centers involved with our Imagination Library program, please reach out. I am super excited because Worcester County Public Schools continues to be consistently in our top 5 campaigns you guys raised, and these are all of your colleagues, your teachers, your administrators, raised almost $67,000 last year. So please give yourselves another big whoop whoop for that one, because truly we couldn't do what we do. And the #1 school system, we couldn't do what we do without all of you. That's how we work. That's how we operate. That's how we are able to connect with our partner agencies and provide funding. You help us provide those funding dollars in addition to our direct programs. We're super excited. We're about to head into our 80th year of service on the shore, and that includes about 6 new partner agencies that will be impacting the community as well. So I do have some certificates. Do you want to
I'm going to call out the schools with the amount raised, and you can come up
Do you
and get
want to
their...
say anything?
I'll just say real quickly, and one of our two agencies that we support in this school system, and that we work very hard, not just me, but the entire school system, is obviously the United Way and then our own educational foundation. And so I'm grateful to all our employees, our leadership who make that happen in their schools, and we certainly understand the benefit we get from both agencies. As a former high school principal, I used to tell my staff all the time, they don't see it, but the number of agencies that the United Way supports that provide services to all our schools, from our elementary, intermediate, middle, and high, is crucial in the success of our kids' journey as they go through school. So again, I want to thank the United Way for what they do, and in particular, I want to thank you all. And again, I want to reiterate, we do push the United Way campaign, as we do the Ed Foundation. It's our 2 chosen charities that we support here in Worcester County Public Schools. And again, I'm honored that, I got to say it again, that on the shore, we're the #1 giving school system. And as she said earlier, we're in the top 5 of all campaigns here in Worcester. I don't think we'll ever beat Purdue. That number is incredible. But again, we are just knocking it out of the park with the support of United Way, and I thank you, and I know I thank our board, and on behalf of our board, we say thank you. So please share that. I'll have the opportunity when I come around to your schools, but please share that with your staffs moving forward.
Okay, let's get started. Snow Elementary School, $1,941. Cedar Chapel Special School, $2,020. Pocomoke High School, $2,611. Stephen Decatur Middle School, $2,732. Shell Elementary School, $3,282. Buckingham Elementary School, $3,806. Worcester Technical High School, $4,239. Pocomoke Middle School, $4,270. Snow Hill Middle School, Pocomoke Elementary School, $4,537. Stephen Decatur High School, $4,888. Berlin Intermediate School, $5,000 even. Ocean City Elementary School, $5,722. Snow Hill High School, $6,230. And central office was $10,752. You gonna get a picture, Carrie?
Okay, now it's time for individual and delegation comments. All individuals who have signed up to the Worcester County Board of Education may do so for 1 or 2 minutes regarding information, commendations, or concerns which may need future board attention. Concerns that are specific to an individual will not be discussed in open session and should be directed to appropriate district personnel for investigation. When you're called to address the board, please state your name and address for the record. And To start off with, I have Helen Schaufstall. Schaufstall, please come on forward. Helen, if you'll speak into the mic for us, that would be great. Thank you so much.
I hope it's on. I hope I left it on.
If it's not on, we'll get it on for you.
Hit the button on, Helen, on the top.
Just push up. Yeah. There you
There you
go.
go.
Now?
Yes,
Work?
we got you. Thank you.
All right. All right, my name is Helen Schaufstall. I live at 4840 Meadowlark Drive, Salisbury, Maryland. I was a 43-year teacher in Worcester County, so this is home to me. I am here today to share with you the Worcester County retired school personnel's welcome to new teachers. I came over from the tech center a few minutes ago, and we met with the new teachers over there and welcomed them to their career as teachers in Worcester County. We informed them it's obviously the best county in the state, and they're very lucky to have the support that they will have as they enter into this career. We applauded their courage to take on this career because it isn't an easy one. Worcester County retired school personnel donated $2,000 to provide red bags with materials of instruction for the new teachers. Each bag had a variety of educational materials that they can use in their classroom. We wanted to give them a small token of our respect for them and thank them for entering the teaching profession. We also want to thank Dr. Andes for chairing the Hall of Fame committee that this year is inaugurating our first class of Hall of Fame recipients. We are, Worcester County Teachers Association is, retired school personnel is partnering with Board of Ed to provide this recognition. And Dr. Andes chaired that committee, and our first recognition will be next month in September, on September 17th. So we hope people will come out and applaud the group of recipients that we've identified. And if I have one more second,
Sure.
the Worcester County retired school personnel did donate over $1,000 to United Way last year. So we
That's great.
joined as well.
Thank you.
Helen, thank you for all you do to make this happen. We appreciate it. Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak today? Okay, seeing none, I'll move to curriculum instruction report, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Shorts.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrante. Each year, we do have our special education staff come and present their staffing report. It's part of COMAR, and each district in Maryland does this. So with that, I'd like to welcome Wendy Phillips up to the front, and she will share our staffing report. And if you have any questions, I'm sure she'd be more than happy to answer those.
Welcome.
Wendy, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, members of the board and executive staff and new student members. Welcome. Okay, get this. Let me get all my glasses too. Need those. Okay, so I'm going to start with you and just go through the staffing plan and just give you some additional information.
Yes, can you speak into the
Oh my
mic for us, Ms.
gosh.
Phillips?
I
Thank
was
you.
just presenting last
I was
week, and the audience kept telling me,
That's
please
okay, you're-
put it up to your mouth. Okay, here we go. So how is the staffing plan developed? Throughout the year, I meet with principals, I meet with the executive team. We talk about any additional concerns that may come up and if additional staffing is needed. The special ed staffing process is within the Worcester County budget process, so all public input is obtained through that budget process and things like that. SIACs and the CCAC also, there's a presentation to them in our October CCAC meeting, and that is how the budget process and the plan is developed throughout the school year. So we have to abide by IDEA mandates. These are mandates that are required and what we do within Worcester County. I'm going to use some of these acronyms. I know when I'm over with them with you last year, but I just want to go over them again. So if you're like, what is that? So Child Find is, I'll talk about it on the next slide. That's just how we identify, locate students within the county that have disabilities. Free and appropriate public education is a FAPE. All children are entitled to that. Our individual education program, IEP, students that are found eligible receive that. They get services birth through age 21. They can get them 0 to 3, 3 to 4 through an extended IFSP in Part C. They can get age 3 to 21, an IEP Part B. It's opposite. I never have understood that. Least restrictive environment is LRE, something that we have to look at all the time. They have to have access to the general education curriculum. Students with disabilities have to have access to the general education curriculum that their peers, their typically developing peers have. They receive SDI that's designed based on their cognitive profile. And then extended school year, all students with a disability are entitled to that, and that decision is normally made in April of every year. So Child Find, what is that? Our students are eligible birth to age 21, as I said before. Just to let you know, all students within Worcester County Public Schools are allowed to be evaluated and receive an IEP. Also, our students in private schools. So if there's a student that lives in Delaware but attends a private school in Worcester County, they're entitled to that location and identification as well. And then any student with a homeschool that is being homeschooled in Worcester County Public Schools as well. So here's some numbers. I like looking at numbers all the time. Part C is in blue. At the time I created this presentation around the end of July, we had 88 in Part C. We had 120 at this time last year. We have 80 right now. Part C is a fluid program because of the service model. So that number will transition from between 80 to 120, which is a huge number to travel through, to go back and forth through, but that's just because of the service model. We actually have 815 is one of our highest numbers for Part B. This is because of COVID. We have found initial eligibility increasing after COVID, and a lot of students moving to Worcester County. I actually just was on a call with a mom from New York that is moving here, and she was asking about the website. Where's Carrie? The website is bringing them to Worcester County, so that is helping out. Good job on the website. Because I always ask them, how did you find us? Because you want to know, how did somebody from Oregon find Worcester County Public Schools on the eastern shore of Maryland? And it's normally the website, so just to let you know.
That's great.
So our students with disabilities are about 12% of the population. This is the same as Maryland. So we have about the same amount of students within Worcester County with disabilities as in the state of Maryland. Worcester's highest primary disability, as you can see, is specific learning disability. That is the same as Maryland. We actually have 26%, Maryland has 26%. Worcester's highest primary disabilities are SLD, as you can see, OHI, speech and language, and autism. That is in line with Maryland and with the nation. So we are just in line with our identification, and that lets us know that we're doing well with identification. So we have to provide a full continuum of services. This starts from the general education teacher providing special education services to a student with disabilities. Sometimes people think that it's just a special educator providing those services, but it's actually a great number of people. So the general education teacher provides services, then it would move to a special education teacher and a general education teacher in the same classroom providing services, then services being provided outside the classroom, and then the thing that we try not to do, but sometimes students have to go, a separate public day school, homeschool, or something like that. All the services we provide are provided, related services within all of these environments. Worcester County is an inclusive school system, which is wonderful. We are actually recognized constantly for this. We were actually put on a panel by the state board because of our inclusive practices. We have about 85% of our students with disabilities, 80% or more of the time within the general education population, which is exceptional and is what you want for our students with disabilities. So these are some of the services and programs we provide. We have, of course, our infants and toddlers program. These are our road warriors. They're the people that are out on the roads. They're going into homes, going into daycares, providing services. They start when the parents start. If the parent says they want services at 7 a.m., they'll get it to a house at 7 a.m. and provide services. We actually have a person that's done it at 6:30, and we've said, hey, you probably shouldn't be doing that. So these are the people that bend over backwards to get our baby services within Worcester County Public Schools. Itinerant services, that's when a parent decides that maybe the child's not ready to come into the school and attend school or go to a daycare, and they'll just bring them to the school. They'll get services and then leave. Then we also provide services in homes, preschools, daycares, and Head Start. We provide services, of course, in all Worcester County Public Schools. We have a RISE program. That's for our students with significant self-regulation needs, and those are in our Snow Hill area schools, and all students throughout the county have an opportunity to be in that program if they need it. We have a public separate day school, which is Cedar Chapel, and it is a very special school. We have non-public schools that we can send our kids out to. We actually have one currently in a non-public school. We have secondary transition work experience, which is absolutely wonderful, another commended program, and then our parent support services as well. And all these services are required too. Under early childhood, just some numbers for you, we had 161 referrals for our infants and toddlers program, which is a lot over last year. 135 students ages 0 to 3 received services, and 38 ages 3 and 4 received services through our infants and toddlers program. They are an amazing team that work miracles. So Part B, these are some hours. I just want to highlight the teacher in this picture. This is Bailey Harrison from Snow Hill Middle School. Her, and you'll see a picture of her co-teacher, just an exceptional teacher. You can see the organization in this picture. You can see the attention of the students. They have worked so well together to provide SDI within the classroom. So back to the information. Special educators provided over 9,000 hours of services to our students with disabilities weekly last year. Our family support facilitator, 330 parent contacts and supported people within IEPs. 144 students received ESY services, and 41 students participated in our summer youth work program. We have an amazing partnership with over 100 businesses within Worcester County Public Schools. We have just recently partnered with Blue Water Corporation, who is an exceptional corporation that has been amazing to our students. Oak 110, Staples, Flagship Cinemas, Jolly Rogers, Tractor Supply. We also Build Your Own Cookie in West Ocean City. Oaked and the bowling alley in Pocomoke just recently hired some of our students as well. So if you can go to those businesses and support them for supporting our schools. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but that's good. It's okay. I'll give you all a list. Okay. You can see where you can visit. Okay. Graduation path, we have to remain under a 1% federal mandate for our students on a certificate path. 815 students are receiving special education services. That number is growing every day as new students are registering and we're getting calls. 60 students are participating in the Maryland's Alternative Framework, and 755 are pursuing a high school diploma. So, does anyone have questions?
Any of my board members have any questions? Ms. Phillips? I would like to say, on behalf of the board, what an exceptional job you and your staff do, of taking care of our students that have some challenges. And the numbers are proof that we're doing an exceptional job.
Yes.
So really want to thank you for that. And the superintendent wanted to say something.
I was going to say the same thing that Mr. Ferrante said. our special ed staff under both Wendy and Bess, who's sitting in the back, and then certainly I have a special heart for Cedar Chapel Special School. Belinda, what she does there, we have a gem in that school in this county and throughout the state. It is recognized. And so what we do here in special ed is also recognized throughout our state, because I hear it when I attend state meetings. So thank you all. Bess, and I know you didn't come up front. And
We know you're back there.
And Belinda, thank you for what you do with that 50-plus population. If you ever want, if you're having a bad day, take a walk through Cedar Chapel Special School and see what's going on there. It brings me back to reality every time I walk in that building. So I want to thank all of you for the hard work and for our special needs students. They are special, and they're special people.
Yes.
And we're going to do everything we can to support them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Taylor.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrante.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I think the board may know, but COMAR requires us to approve a special education staffing plan by COMAR rule. So I need a motion to approve the 2024 and 2025 special education plan as presented to you today.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. McComas. Second. And a second by Mr. Smack. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Thank you again for all the hard
Thank you
work.
so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, thank you.
And now moving on for update from Student Services, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Wallace.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ferrante and the board. I want to just I'm going to introduce Lauren Williams and Nicole Selby. They have nicknames we've been working on, but we won't use those today. But I also want to acknowledge Bess and Wendy. You two stand up too, because as they're coming up and getting set up, I think I would be remiss. There you go, stand up. Don't be shy. I'd be remiss to not talk about how interconnected the work is with these four ladies and the other folks on our disproportionality team. Wendy just talked about how we were recognized recently at a state meeting where they were asked to sit on a panel. We are consistently asked, what is your secret to success? What is your recipe for success? In fact, a couple weeks ago, I got an email about our social studies scores. Every week, it's something different. And the four of these ladies are part of the leaders of our disproportionality team, which is related to special services for our exceptional students that Wendy just talked about. As well as many of the services that you're going to see in this community schools presentation. They are all interconnected. They are all a part of our secret sauce that is not so secret, because we are consistently asked to share across the state and even on bigger stages what we're doing. So just before these two started their presentation, I wanted to recognize the four of them and their work, because truly there are things that we all do in our careers that will be a part of our legacies, and the work that these four have done around creating more safe and supportive schools for our students and for our staff and for our community is part of their legacy. So I want to thank you four publicly for all that. And then these two gems of mine, Nicole Selby and Lauren Williams, are going to be here today, and I'll get you can have my mic if you want to. They're going to present on our community schools and give you sort of an update on where we are. Would you like two, or are you okay with one? I know you all love to share. Two came one.
We're okay sharing.
Just talk into the mic, whichever one's talking, please.
Gotta eat it.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So I don't know that Lauren and I could have picked a better board meeting to present community in schools, where we donated $67,000 to the United Way, and Bess and Wendy just talked about all the partnerships that we have in the community. So we just want to come forward with you all and talk about what our work for the county is with community schools. We're excited to be here. But I want you to pay attention to our first slide. As we talk about community schools, we're going to talk to you about what it is. We're going to talk to you about the role of our community schools liaisons, and we're more importantly going to talk about what community schools does to strengthen us in the community, strengthen us in the school system. So our opening slide comes from our first Community Schools Showcase, which was held at Pocomoke High School on July 9th. So we wanted to highlight our community partners at that showcase. So you see Pocomoke Middle School, you see Cedar Chapel, Pocomoke High School, and the bottom right-hand corner are the foster grandparents that are at Pocomoke Elementary School. So we were so excited to have all of them there.
And we opened up our community school showcase with a really powerful community building circle. For those of you who have had the opportunity this summer to work with restorative practices and understand how we can use restorative practices to build community, this was a great example of that. One of our community school liaisons, Mr. Carlton Cartwright, who is also a lead for restorative practices in the county, led this circle with tons of obviously internal partners and external partners, and we just briefly shared what brought us there today and why we're in this work, and it was uplifting, honestly. It was very nice to hear how many people truly care about the community, truly care about the schools in Worcester County, and what they're doing to contribute to that. So that was a wonderful way to start off the event. I'm not giving the microphone back. Let me chill out. So I'm ready to throw it back to Nicole. But I am going to talk a little bit just about what a community school is overall. A lot of times people think that a community school is a model or it's something that we do. But honestly, it's a mindset. It's a framework. It's a way of thinking about our schools as a hub and a way that we can make partnerships with other folks that have similar missions that want to help support youth and families, and we can help both support those external agencies as well as the needs in the community by making those connections. You see this circle up there with the little pie pieces and lots of. Be familiar with that image because that's the model that we use, the framework that we use for community schools, where in the center, the goal and the focus in that yellow circle is all students flourish in thriving community schools. So that is our goal, and the way we do that is by building those connections and identifying other folks that are out there doing the same work or similar work to support our students and families. And as I said, the community schools program is a strategy and not a program. It's a way of thinking about organizing resources in the community so that we can make sure that the community has the best access to that and then work towards best outcomes for student success.
So our community schools is, we have to submit information to the Maryland State Department of Education. Our first year community schools are Buckingham and Snow Hill. And they will be responsible for conducting the needs and assets assessment, which we will be submitting that data to MSDE at the end of May of this coming school year. Our second year community schools are Pocomoke High. They will be updating their needs and asset assessments, and again, we'll submit a full plan to MSDE at the end of May. And then our veterans, our third year community schools, Cedar Chapel, Pocomoke Elementary, and Pocomoke Middle. This year, in addition to the work we do with students, they will be updating their needs and assets assessments, and all of the funding for community schools is through the concentration of poverty.
So I'm going to talk for a moment about the role of the community school liaison, what they do, right? So as Nicole shared, we've been doing this work for about 3 years formally since the blueprint has focused on community schools and provided funding to support those community schools. And one of the things that funding requires, first and foremost, is to hire a community school liaison. So in those 3 years, we have learned a lot about the most effective ways to exist as a community school liaison, what's the best way to approach their community partners, and how to really be strategic about the work that we're doing. So we now have, since we have 6 community schools, we have 6 community school liaisons. So you might start hearing the phrase or meeting those liaisons a little bit more as you're out and about in the schools. And their role is to really lead that work of the community school and that is all driven by a needs and assets assessment. So it's identifying by talking to families, by talking to students, by talking to teachers, either through a survey or through in-person conversations. What are the needs? What are we seeing as the challenges, and what can we bring in to help remove those barriers? So our community school liaisons communicate. They gather that information. They work with their principal and put together a strategic plan for how we're going to address whatever those gaps are that they identified. And they work in lots of ways directly with students and also with community partners to broker services. One of the most wonderful things that I really think we saw on display in our community school showcase is the return on investment in those community school liaisons. Studies have shown that for every dollar invested in a position to hire a community school liaison, you get a $7 return in terms of different partners that come in, different connections that you make, different services that get provided directly to students at no cost to the school system. So there's a great value add there. This year we're going to start, again, I mentioned we've been in this work for about 3 years, and MSDE has been learning along the way too. They just recently passed some new legislation that requires some more reporting, and I'm very excited for reporting because I'm a dork like that, but I'm very excited for us to start to see some of the case managed numbers, some of the really specific outcomes as far as where we're looking with our chronic absenteeism, with our new partnerships, new wraparound services. So collecting all that data, and really a lot of things that we do and we've done for years, we just maybe haven't collected really tight data on. For example, how many times have we talked about, giving out clothing or coats or things of that nature? We don't always track that. We're more worried about the service. We're more worried about getting it delivered and getting things in the hands of those families. But our focus with this program is to really work on being specific about measuring where we're making that impact.
As we're starting to wrap up, we just want you to know that community schools, the basis is us working as a team. So we wanted to highlight, we had at our showcase, First Financial Federal was at our showcase. We had Menageries Dream Alliance. They provided information at the showcase. And then Seaside Plumbing, because we know that, the trades are very important to students also. So we just want you to know that the purpose of community schools is that we're creating partnerships, and we're creating a team between our families and our community and our school.
Another piece of the work of community schools that's very important is collaborative leadership. So we really want to I mentioned our community school liaisons talking to families, talking to students, talking to teachers. We want to get up to 75% at minimum of those folks responding to tell us how they're feeling, right? So tell us what they need, tell us what the gaps are, and not just in the school, but in the community too, because that is all part of the education of our whole child, and trying to support whatever might be getting in the way of being successful in the classroom. So that's what, that's collaborative leadership basically, is making sure that we're hearing all of those voices, that we're having that two-way communication, and that we're getting all the right people at the table to make those decisions. Not just the people that are inside the school, but also those partners outside. And in the spirit of the collaborative leadership approach, we're creating a community schools advisory committee. So we will have a community schools advisory committee that will meet quarterly. They'll review those very exciting reports that I talked about earlier. They will provide feedback on that, and they will share, where they see needs or other things, other inputs that they are getting that they think would be beneficial programming or partnerships to bring to the school. So our first community school advisory committee meeting will be in November after the first quarter, and we are excited to get that group going.
That's great.
Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions from any of my board members?
I have a few questions.
Go ahead.
The first question that I was interested in is, would you say that since starting the community schools 3 years ago with those specific schools, and then into this year coming up, would you say that the parental involvement has increased or decreased?
That's a great question. I think we are looking at ways to measure parental involvement, right? Because I think the traditional way, or one of the things that we think of first is, well, how many people are coming to events? How many people are walking in the door? But we really need to expand that concept of what parental engagement is. Are they responding to surveys? Are they logging into PowerSchool? Are they, so I could not answer for all 4 schools as to whether engagement has increased or decreased. That would be a difficult one for me, but I know we're not at 75% of our, stakeholder engagement yet, so we still have some work to do. I know it's not quite the question that you asked, but
No, that's fine.
Still working.
Yeah. I guess with that too, with all of these resources that these families are then receiving for their children, is there any sort of buy-in by the families to be able to be more involved? Is there anything required of them?
Yes, absolutely. So the partnerships are really separate services that we, are saying, okay, this is a trusted partner, and we've had great experiences with them, and we think that you'll do a good, you'll be in good hands with them too. So we're not really in that relationship. You know what I mean? We're making that referral, and they're obligated to follow through with the requirements of that program. So and they stay engaged in those programs, and so I think that's. Did that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So the way I understand it is that the school isn't necessarily involved with reaching out to the community members. It's more or less this community liaison. Is that correct?
Well, the community school liaison leads that work in that outreach, but we have lots of different staff people, like our school counselors are, point people with different organizations, and Dr. Wallace, yeah.
Okay, no problem. I got you.
Okay. So we have lots of different folks that interact, or there might be lots of different inroads for new partnership, but the community school liaison organizes that, make sure that we have a clear list of all the folks that are engaging in partnerships with the school, and also that they're not transactional, right? We don't just want, we would love it if somebody wants to drop off a case of water, but we would love it even more if we had a shared goal that we were working with, right? So if Dollar General wants to donate some water every year, that's great, but let's talk to Dollar General about, okay, what do you really, what's important to your company, what kind of outreach or what kind of charity, contributions are important for your organization? Can we align those with the goal of this school or this county? So that's what takes it that step further, not just getting donations or having a partner, that
Sure.
Is only giving, which we love gifts, but we want it to be mutual. We want it to be us working together in a true partnership.
And do you find that there's more with the community schools idea? Are there more things going on within the school during the school day, or is this more community partnerships outside the school during the summertime, after school events?
Yes. Yes, and right. So both. But I think one of the great things that we can highlight through our community school partnership is, for example, the Boys and Girls Club in Pocomoke, right? So that partnership, preceded our community schools work, but it's really gone very well right along with it. We did a needs and assets assessment in the sense of, like, we talked to other, not only schools, but others that provide after-school programming, and we identified, for example, with the Boys and Girls Club, that those hours needed to be after school, right? It didn't need to, we had the after-school market in good shape. We had a lot of options for students and things that they could do during that first time period right after school lets out, but 5:30 to 8:30, there was really not as much to do. So that's what that would look like, where it's, let's look at, we're not duplicating services, right? We're not creating something that there's not going to be anybody that shows up to because they've got these other things going on, and so that's why the community schools is a strategy, and it really makes it more meaningful than just saying, oh, I think the community wants this. Let's try this and see who shows up.
Right. And within the community, sorry, I have a lot of questions about it. Within the community schools, the different liaisons for each school, do they work together within the county? Do they talk to each other? Do they have meetings? Or is it that community school liaison is just doing things for their school, they're in their own little realm, and then this other one's doing something else? Or do they kind of try to work together to get common goals done for the county and then spread out through the schools?
Particularly our Pocomoke area has all 3 of their schools are community schools, so they've really been able to work together, to make sure, again, not duplicating services, not having, competing interests for, one of our partners, right? We need to respect our partners' time too, and not say, oh, can you come to this meeting and then come to this meeting and then come to this meeting, right? We want it to be coordinated so it's worth their time too. So Pocomoke is a great example of that because they do have all 3 schools, but also in the Snow Hill area, right? We received a grant through Maryland Leads, Transforming Neighborhoods Through Excellent Community Schools. And so our Snow Hill area schools, now Snow Hill Middle, Nicole mentioned, will officially be a community school in their first year this year, but they had the opportunity to understand the community schools model and get familiar with it before they, started receiving that funding through this other grant that we received. So that was also a coordinated effort. Again, in our small communities, we've got limited resources. We can't be tapping the same, knocking on the same door every time, right? We've got to make sure that we're intentional and smart about.
And have you found that your community school partners have come back year after year, or is it more revolving door?
No, we have, many long-term partners. When we think about behavioral health, we think about the Worcester County Health Department, we think about Chesapeake Healthcare, we have some other partners too, Maple Shade, who you guys heard from a couple of months ago, and those are long-standing partnerships and only growing, and then, we have new partnerships that we're
and excited. Just touched on the health aspect. Can you give an idea of what goes on in the school day with the healthcare aspect of community schools? What type of things are offered to students?
Yes, absolutely. So our school-based wellness program, our school-based mental health program is not tied to community schools. We offer that in all of our schools. There are counselors from those organizations that I mentioned that come in, work with our administration on the school's schedule, to work with the student schedule so they're not getting pulled out of class, right? So they coordinate that and then come into school to meet with students at a convenient time with parental consent after parents have done all of that initial paperwork. So basically, we just open our doors to that agency and let them have a space to meet with that student. In Pocomoke, at Pocomoke High School, we have a school-based health center. Chesapeake Healthcare is our partner in that school-based health center, and that is for either physicals or urgent care appointments. So it could be either scheduled appointment or sort of a more urgent appointment, an illness, a sickness, that kind of thing. Also, all happens with parental consent and goes through those pathways with signed paperwork and things like that, and that would and has led to students missing less time because either they're quickly diagnosed and able to get the medication they need, or they're told quickly diagnosed and able to go back to class. You know what I mean? That it's not, or stay home and rest, but you can return tomorrow. We know it's not something that's more significant. So.
And then as far as if they are diagnosed with something, is the parent then informed about all these things? Is the communication lines open? Isn't involved with that student being in that health situation during the day? Are they still involved with the outcomes of those meetings, or how does that work?
So for our school-based health center specifically, there's paperwork that's signed in advance. Then we contact the parent and say, your child has come to the health center and they're not feeling well. I know you signed that consent for the school-based health center. Would you like them to be seen? They're here on site today and they could see your child. They can either come in and participate face-to-face with the parent can either come in and participate face-to-face with the appointment, call on in on the phone, and they will get paperwork after the appointment, just like you do in a regular doctor's office, that will tell you what happened in the visit and that kind of thing. But there wouldn't be any medication or anything provided without consent from the parent, or even a visit provided without consent from the parent. That all goes through that
Thank you
first.
for answering all of my questions.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Dr. Wallace?
Yeah, it got beyond me, but I think I can go back in my head. I'll look at Josh because I know he has Mark Thompson, who was an original. Would you say your parent interaction has increased or decreased since Mark Thompson? I'm putting you on the spot because I can speak for it because I have a little person at your school, but yes.
Also
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I just thought it might be helpful to hear from a principal. And I think on some of the other aspects that you were asking about, and Lauren, you talked about it on one of your slides, it really is about coordination of services, and specifically she talked about on a slide case management, because that's one of the big focuses. She talked about, her and Nicole both talked about doing this needs assessment, because that really narrows the scope down, because it's not just somebody who comes in, and I think you did a nice job of explaining it, but it's not just somebody who comes in who's just going to provide more, right? Who's just going to try to get more parents to be involved and just try to get more community partners. It is very specific around this needs assessment around there's a reason why Mark Thompson is going to 2nd Street to get this specific partner, because it's a missing piece of the plan. And specifically, I would also add that like it isn't even necessarily, I mean, obviously we want to add more, but I think we actually have a goal number of how many people they're supposed to be case managing, right? Isn't there like there's sort of this number that they say, here's how many you should actually be specifically case managing, and your needs assessment should be driving you to these specific families, because the idea of it is that it's very targeted. So it's not just a blanket that we're going to put on Pocomoke Elementary School, I'll use as an example. It's very specific. These are the families that need to be focused on, because these are the families that we're giving other things to, but they aren't necessarily working. And so I think that's like an important part of the process for everyone to understand, is that this is very targeted work. It's not a blanket we throw on top. Lauren has done a lot of excellent leadership, and Nicole as well, of this program. I actually thought the foster grandmothers, that's an example of like a new partner that's a great partner for us. I actually thought my nephew was making something up, because he came home and kept talking about Mama Shirley. I thought he had an imaginary friend at school. He kept telling me it was a foster grandparent. I was like, you don't have one of those. And then I met Mama Shirley at our event when she got introduced, and I was like, okay, he's more normal than I thought he was. But that's a really great example of a program that we've brought in that is targeting specific students as foster grandparents, but it also, my family and my person who's at Pocomoke Elementary isn't a student who specifically is targeted for those, but it actually is having a broader impact, which I think is excellent, and I think it's an unintended consequence. I think it becomes like a tier 1 support, even though they're a tier 3 person supporting specific families. So I just wanted to add that, because I think they talked about it a little bit, but we kind of danced around. But it is very prescriptive around that needs assessment in specific families.
I guess if you guys ever come back and present again, I would be really interested in seeing any sort of data that you are able to collect on the amount of parental involvement with these programs, because I think it's great to have community partners, but I think it's also great that when these types of services are being given to the children of this county, that we're able to see how the families are interacting with these community partners, how they are responding, what types of things that they are also being involved with their children, because at the end of the day, we want to create the bond with the families as well as community partners. So I think it's great. Thank you.
Any other board members? I just want to say, anytime you can increase, we have great community-based schools here in Worcester County, and I know you know that, but anytime we can increase engagement with other partners, it's a terrific thing, and I thank you for all the hard work that you both do. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Shorts for the blueprint update.
Which the girls set me up very nicely for, because Pillar 4 is part of the blueprint, and that is exactly where the concentration of poverty schools came from. And it is one of the pieces of the blueprint that doesn't go through the funding formula, which I don't know if anybody's excited about like I am, because we get an equal share of money for all of our schools that any other school in the state of Maryland gets, which is very unusual for Worcester County. So we are very pleased about that, and thank you again, Lauren and Nicole, for setting that up. And I will say also to Ms. Addis that many of our schools that are concentration of poverty schools are also Title I schools, and we have a lot of data around parent and family engagement around Title I too that we'd be happy to share with you, which is a real focus of Title I also. So blueprint update. So one bit of exciting news that we did share at our A&S meeting to the board members members who were able to attend, but I thought I would repeat it for those who were unable to attend and those that are watching us through our live stream, is that we did receive the AIB Technical Assistant Grant that we applied for back in July, and this grant was meant to assist us in helping us mostly with Pillar 5, which is Mr. Tolbert's baby around allocations of funds. And we were, we were successful in receiving that grant, and we were partnered with Afton Partners, and again, very pleased to be partnered with Afton, specifically with someone named Heather Wendell, who will be our specific contact. Originally, to start out, we have about $30,000 that will be our initial contact monies with her, but that we've been told by the AIB that those monies could be extended if we need more. So that kicked off July 1st. I believe we had our first meeting in the middle of July with Afton and developed a plan that we had to turn into the AIB, and we are focusing around 2 areas of pillars 2 and 5, one being the 75% of funding going directly to our students, meaning that our special needs students, which Ms. Phillips and Ms. Cropper talked about earlier today, and our ML, our multilingual learners, which used to be our English language learners, ensuring that those funds are traced right to the schools. We know that we need work in our systems and work through the blueprint on that, so Afton will be a partner with that process. And then in Pillar 2 with Dr. App and what he's been working on, attaining that $60,000 salary for our starting teachers starting in 2027, which will be here before we know it. So those are the 2 goals. We'll continue to keep you updated around our work with Afton, but it is good news that we did receive that grant, and again, we'll continue to keep you updated. As far as the implementation plan part 2 that we turned in May, we did receive one more bit of feedback, and one was actually around our MLs, and one of the questions that we wrote around our multilingual learners that we had to make some adjustments to, we made those adjustments and turned it back in last week. So hopefully our plan will be finally approved, and we can put our second plan on that beautiful website that was referenced earlier that Ms. Steers keeps up, and it will be marked final eventually soon. So again, 2 more revisions that we had to make to 2 questions. And remember, once that plan is approved, that is when our monies are officially released to us, and that makes everyone happy. So those are my 2 updates around the blueprint. Any questions from the board around where we are with blueprint?
Any board members have any questions? All right. Thank you, Ms.
All right,
Schwartz.
thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
And that concludes curriculum and instruction, and back to you, Mr. Ferrante.
Thank you. Thank you again, Ms. Schwartz. And now we're moving on to administrative operations, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. App for personnel exhibit.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrante. In front of you, you have your personnel exhibit for this month. Retirements, we have Lisa Deschamps from Snow Hill Elementary School. Our resignations this month, Luke Cooper, HVAC technician, central office. Anna Fritz, teacher, Stephen Decatur Middle School. Kimberly Jones, educational assistant, Worcester Technical High School. Diana Mariner from cafeteria manager, Ocean City Elementary School. Jira Patel, teacher at Snow Hill High School. Nevaeh Rejo, educational assistant, Cedar Chapel Special School. And Brittany Standard, educational assistant at Snow Hill Elementary School. Our new hires for your consideration, Kevin Bull, custodian 2, Pocomoke Middle School. Danielle Dawson, educational assistant, Berlin Intermediate School. Shelby Derrickson, educational assistant, Buckingham Elementary School. Lola Downing, custodian 2, Pocomoke High School. Marianne Francone, educational assistant, Berlin Intermediate School. Richard Gunter, systems technician, central office. Ebony Jenkins, educational assistant, Snow Hill Elementary School. Alvin Kruger, teacher, Pocomoke High School. Courtney Larrick, teacher, Stephen Decatur Middle School. Anna Malone, social worker, Pocomoke Middle School. Diana Martin, educational assistant, Pocomoke Elementary School. Andrew Matthews, educational assistant, Pocomoke High School. Matthew McGowan, educational assistant, Stephen Decatur Middle School. Sarah Powell, teacher, Snow Hill Middle School. DeAndrea Purnell, educational assistant, Snow Hill Middle School. Stephanie Redden, educational assistant, Pocomoke High School. Adam Ridgely, educational assistant, Stephen Decatur Middle School. Tyjon Roberts, educational assistant, Cedar Chapel Special School. Brianna Romersa, educational assistant, Buckingham Elementary School. James Song, custodian 2, Snow Hill High School. Emily Staley, teacher, Stephen Decatur Middle School. Lorraine Sturgis, educational assistant, Stephen Decatur High School. Jessica Talls, educational liaison, Snow Hill Elementary School. Anna Wheatley, cafeteria manager, Ocean City Elementary School. Joelle Whitelock, educational assistant, Worcester Technical High School. Kayla Widgeon, teacher, Snow Hill Elementary School and Pocomoke Elementary School. Our promotions for your consideration is Danae Bowen, school counselor, Stephen Decatur High School. Jennifer O'Brien, secondary literacy and instructional coach, central office. And Gregory Tyndall, teacher, Stephen Decatur Middle School. The superintendent recommends approval of the personnel exhibit as presented.
Okay, any questions for Dr. App? Seeing none, I need a motion and a second to approve the personnel exhibit as presented. Motion by Mr. Smack and a second by Ms. McComas. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Dr. App. I'll stay with you.
Thank you. In your agenda says benefits update, but what this really is giving you some information on a supplemental insurance that we offer our employees in the form of a flexible health spending account. So we have offered this for many, many years to our employees who wish to participate in this program. We've been researching this. My office has been researching this along with the finance department for over a year. We've been having meetings and discussing the possibility of changing our vendor. Currently, we are with a vendor called TASC, T-A-S-C, and they charge a fee for their services. We are currently paying around $11,000 annually for them to administer our flex spending accounts. We have a supplemental insurance provider that we deal with, American Fidelity. We actually have a few of those that we have here in the system, Aflac, American Fidelity, and I believe the Standard for some life insurances. We've been working with American Fidelity because they actually administer a flexible health spending account as well. They have agreed to administer our flexible spending accounts at no charge to the school system, which would save us $11,000. So we've met with the union last week. We had a meeting with the union, American Fidelity, and members of the executive staff and talked this through. There is a time table that we have to adhere to. We have to give TASC a 90-day notice that we're going to be switching plans, and we're at that point now. The paperwork is in process, and we wanted the Board of Education to know that that process is underway.
Thank you for the update. Appreciate that. Now I'll turn it over to Dr. Wallace for a safety update.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrante. But quickly before I begin the safety update, I just wanted to let the board know August is typically our month that I bring all of our yearly policies before you that we need to update. We had a little snafu I had a different assistant come on this school year, and so we had a little snafu in changing the things over so they weren't ready to click over today. So I'm not bringing those forward. I'll be bringing all those forward next month. Which is just like our yearly updates to our policies. So expect to see those from me next month, and we do have quite a few updates and changes to make. Just a few safety updates. The first one is Mr. Sean Goddard, who is our coordinator for school safety, recently met with Baltimore City Public Schools to consult with them on our I Love You Guys, and Carrie Steers has left, but I also was going to thank her for her leadership of that. Sean and I had a conversation. He was funny. He came to my office this morning. He's like, yep, it kind of went like this. I came in and you were like, hey, let's do this. And I said, okay, let's do it. So we have had an outstanding transition into the I Love You Guys platform and protocols in all of our schools. Maryland Center for School Safety recognized our work, and when Baltimore City was looking for someone to consult with, they recommended that they consult with us. So Baltimore City has consulted with us. I believe they probably will have another consultation with Sean that will be coming up. But I want to thank Sean for his leadership of that, and Carrie helped lead all of the communication protocols. So we were recognized as a leader in the state for that, and we were the school system that they chose to recommend as consultants for other districts. Sean is working with leadership of the Sheriff's Office to renew our memorandum of understanding. There's 3 small things that we're working on. One of them is already included as an addendum to our MOU, and then some language changes, but I'll be bringing those to you next month. Just an update on the window film. We are waiting on our NOGA for the safety grants. We don't start spending dollars on grants because we can't do that until we actually get that NOGA in hand that says, even though we get the thing that says, yep, you can use this, we actually have to get an official document before Mr. Tolbert will let us start any work, which is a very good practice. But we expect to have that and that to begin that window film in September. Sean has everything lined up and ready to go. We literally are just waiting for the final document. We had a successful safety conference that happened since we met last. I want to thank Sean Goddard, Lauren, and Nicole, and also my assistant Callie, who did an excellent job of putting that safety conference together. This year, the sheriff was wonderful. He attended one whole full day, and all of our SRDs were there, so it was excellent. I also want to thank Dr. John Andes, Miss Elena McComas, Mr. Ferrante, Mr. Gordy, who attended the safety conference with us. We appreciated your support of that day. Feedback that I got from the sheriff, I know Sean got the same thing, was that it was absolutely excellent. We focused on restorative practices, which is our proactive strategies for school safety, and so it was an excellent safety conference. The last thing I have to share is that we just concluded our Safe and Supportive Schools training. Something that our team decided was important was that we give professional development to our school administrators around all of our safe and supportive schools protocols and documents so that they were well prepared. That's something that after a year of kind of Sean and I getting our bearings in school safety, we decided that we would start that. We began that last summer. We spent nearly 2 weeks training, 2 weeks of a summer. And if you think about a summer, it's really not as long as a summer seems like it is. You've got like a week and a half in June, you've got 4 weeks in July, you've got like 1 week in August because our new teachers come back. So we spent nearly 2 weeks training all of our administrators, principals and vice principals, also school counselors. Also, we talked about Mark Thompson, who's one of our school and community liaisons. They attended, our social workers attended, and we spent nearly 2 weeks training folks on Safe and Supportive Schools document, restorative practices, polybath, as well as our other Safe and Supportive Schools initiatives. That's something as a district that we are continuing to be committed to. I want to thank Ms. McComas. She came for a new teacher orientation, and then she ended up staying and then forgetting about her poor dog who was at home because she was just so, I think, just enjoying your learning that day. And she was like, this is so good. We should always do this. And I was like, we started it last year and we're going to continue to do it. So I want to thank our school leadership. They committed a great deal of their time this summer, but we believe that school safety is paramount, which is, once again, I'll also share with you that we have 3 focuses for our school improvement plans. We have a literacy goal, we have a math goal, and we have a safety goal. We're going to continue, last year was a safety focus. We're going to continue to focus on that safety focus because, as I shared with you, safety isn't just what people think safety is. Safety is about a million things that go in front of the traditional safety things that you talk about. There's a ton of layers of support and protection that we want to provide before we ever have any sort of issue. And so our special ed work is a large portion of that work. Our work with our exceptional students is a part of that work. Lauren, the work that we're talking about in community schools is a part of that work. This is all forward-facing work that if we can solve those problems, then we prevent those sorts of incidences from happening. And in the event that something terrible happens, we want to make sure that we're trained, well-trained in what to do, which is why we have all those things in place. But I wanted to also just thank Ms. McComas for being there that day, and I hope that your dog was okay, because that poor little pup, when you realized, the look on your face when you realized Bella had been home for that many hours, it was
so
yeah.
involved,
Yes.
and Bella was fine.
That's all. Back to you, Mr. Ferrante.
Thank you, Dr. Wallace. We appreciate that.
I had a quick question.
Yes.
As far as the safety committee, is that still happening? Is that like every other month?
Yep, the safety committee is meeting quarterly, and we will. I don't know if Sean, do you know off the top of your head when the first meeting is? The middle of September.
Are we able to get an updated roster of who sits on the safety committee?
You sure can.
Thank you.
Will you, Sean, get that to me, and then I will distribute it out to them. We're doing a rotating basis. I'm speaking off the cuff, but I know that we sought the help of some board members to get some additional community members. But we want to make sure that we have fresh faces on that committee. But we can absolutely. I'll get Sean to get that to me, and I'll email it out to all of you, or email it to Todd, and then
Thank
he
you.
can send it out.
I'll make sure I get
however
it
you
out.
have to do that.
Thank you, Dr. Wallace. Any other questions? Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tolbert for physical operations.
Yes, sir. Thank you. First up, we have Mr. Joe Price with an update and a request for requisition number 2 for the Snow Hill Middle School Cedar Chapel School Roof Project. Mr. Price.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Price.
Included in your exhibits are the Snow Hill Middle Cedar Chapel roof plan showing construction progress and construction photos. Project began on June 17th. Cedar Chapel is complete with the exception of the stone. Snow Hill Middle roof, as you can see from the roof plan, is about 90% complete and waiting stone. Metal coping installation around the perimeter is in progress. And we're going to begin site repair and landscaping this week, and very good chance we'll be done by the 30th.
Okay.
Photo number 1 is the Snow Hill Middle gymnasium roof, complete and awaiting stone. Number 2 is the cafeteria roof. Number 3 is classroom section, again complete and awaiting stone. 4 is the installation of the cover board in the back courtyard area. This picture is a drone shot showing the progress at the end of July. You see the sections between the cafeteria and the gym that were not done. They are done now. Again, classroom section. Metal coping installation at Cedar Chapel. And more progress work in the classroom area behind the cafeteria. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Price? Yes, sir.
Superintendent recommends approval of requisition number 2.
Okay, can I have a motion and a second to approve the Snow Hill Middle Cedar Chapel School Special School Roof Replacement Requisition number 2 as presented to you?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Buchanan.
Second.
And a second by Ms. Addis. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Price. Appreciate it.
Just make one quick comment.
Yes.
That's an incredible accomplishment to replace that entire roof section in the summer. So kudos to you, Mr. Price, and the contractor, and engineering, and everyone else who were involved in it. Because one of our greatest concerns is that we'll have roof construction going on while students are in the building. And I just want to thank you and the entire team for your accomplishment, because as I said before, to replace an entire school roof over 2 schools, Cedar Chapel and Snow Hill Middle School, is an incredible accomplishment in one summer. So thank you.
Dr. Andy's always taught me never focus on the negative, and I won't focus on the negative, but a couple of years ago we did the Pocomoke Middle School roof, and it was 90,000 square feet. And we started around June 15th, and we finished right after Christmas. This project is 107,000 square feet. They started around June 15th, and we're going to be done at the end of August. Garland and Apex from Ocean City have done an incredible job.
That's great. Thank you, Mr. Price.
Thanks, Joe.
Staying with you, Mr. Tolbert.
Yes, next up is every year at this time, we bring the budgetary transfers to the board for their approval. We're right in the middle of our annual independent audit and doing the year-end budget transfers as part of that audit. For the intercategory this year, we had 5 categories that exceeded their original allocation. We're not asking for any additional funds. We're handling those overages with transfers from other categories. We're asking to reduce 3 categories: instructional salaries, other instructional costs, and fixed charges for a total of $1,499,310. Just for the board's information, that's about 1.1% of overall budget. So I think to just have budgetary transfers about 1.1% is pretty impressive, especially when you build this budget 18 months before it's finalized. So going on to the second page, the 5 categories that exceeded budget. First category was administration. That was over, and we're asking to change that and increase that by $135,761. The main drivers of that overages was legal services and memberships, dues, and subscriptions. Under instructional support, we're asking to increase that category by $59,705. The main driver there was increased cost of computer software. Under student transportation, we're asking to increase that by $293,595. That was due to the fuel supplement paid to our bus contractors, after school and summer school transportation, and transportation for our FIT students. Operation of plant, we're asking to increase that by $590,415. Main drivers there of increased costs for the upkeep of grounds, custodial supplies, and software costs, and just inflationary drivers. Under maintenance of plant, we're asking to increase that category by $419,834. The main drivers and increases there were repair of equipment, HVAC supplies, and other costs to maintain our 14 school buildings. As you know, we have buildings of all ages, and some of them are pretty aging buildings. Once again, it's not any increase to the budget, it's just a reallocation of those categories I talked about.
Any questions from Mr. Tolbert regarding these budgetary transfers?
Not obviously right now or today, but whenever you get a chance, would you be able to break down these categories into subcategories of how those numbers are going in? Like, for example, the operation of plant, it's a change of $590,000. Would you be able to separate it from the upkeep of the grounds, the custodial supplies, and the software costs to see a little bit more detail on how much money is going to each subcategory?
Sure. If you want to come in and sit down with me sometime, I can walk you through those line items so you can see exactly where it was over.
That would be great.
As you may remember, in FY25's budget, we reclassified some money out of instructional salaries to maintenance and to operation of plant. So in FY25 and going forward, we should not have these same increases in those 2 categories.
Okay.
So, but yeah,
Thank you.
You make a call and make an appointment, come in anytime.
That sounds like a plan.
These adjustments are fluid.
Right.
Sure.
So they,
yeah.
they happen. But any other questions for Mr. Tolbert?
And right behind it is the intra categories.
Okay, you're going to do that one too?
I'm not going to walk the board today. They have specific questions. That's more just housekeeping. That's within the category, just kind of doing things to line up. Under state regulation, we can't have any subcategory that has any expenditure more than budgeted.
Right.
So we have to line up those subcategories too.
Understand. So the superintendent recommends these FY24 budgetary transfers, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the FY24 budgetary transfers as presented by Mr. Tolbert today?
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Andes.
Second.
A second by Ms. McComas. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Tolbert. I'll stay with you for the monthly financial report.
Yes, sir. The superintendent recommends approval of the July monthly financial report with total non-salary expenditures of $2,452,462.38.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Tolbert regarding this month's expenditures? Can I have a motion and a second to approve the July 31st, 2024 monthly financial report as presented?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Smack.
Second.
A second by Mr. Gordy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Tolbert.
You're welcome.
And now I'd like to open the floor up to my board members for any Board of Education comments they'd like to make. Whoever would like to go first, let me know.
Yeah, I'm just,
Go ahead.
sorry.
Ms. McComas.
Had an interesting summer. Lots of family, thank you, God. But was also able to visit so many of our programs, our conferences. It's really been illuminating, educational. How's that sound? First, we started with the ESMEC conference in June. I think most of us were there. It was really very good. We were able to speak to AIB personally. It was very helpful. I was able to do Shell Elementary School. That was fun. Thank you. The Summer Academy. And then also the Worcester Tech Stat Summer Camp. Amazing, amazing things are happening there. I was blown away, and I'm a science teacher. It was awesome. Then was able to go to the safety conference. I learned, and I thought, well, I'll just come for the day. You know, it was 2 days worth. Well, I was there the second day, and I learned so much. You know what? Remember that principals will love this, lifelong learner? Yeah, well, this is the way I learn. I sit there and I listen, and I'm able to take notes, and I can do it. And restorative practices, I loved it. I finally get it. I understand where we're coming from. The SRDs were so excited about it. Got to talk to them for a while. It was just very helpful. New teacher orientation, we've got a wonderful group. And I'm really excited about that. And then, of course, I stayed, for the Safe and Supportive School Summit, because guess what? It was another learning experience, and I really enjoyed that. And thank you all. Thank you all for putting up with me, for letting me stay. I'm amazed at how much work and effort goes into our summers here in this district. Absolutely amazing. And thank you to everyone who helped put all of this on. I mean, this takes effort and commitment, and I'm so impressed with Worcester County after this summer. I just can't begin to tell you. Thank you. I've been able to do this sometimes, but this summer I just made that decision. I really wanted to try to hit as much as I could just to see what we're dealing with, and we're hitting it out of the park. Thank you all for everything you do.
Thank you. Dr. Andes?
Thank you, Mr. Ferrante. I want to thank everyone who was able to attend the Chamber Music by the Sea Festival from August the 3rd through August the 10th, where we brought some internationally renowned musicians, including Grammy Award-winning musicians, to Worcester County. We had 4 free events, 6 ticketed events, and we will have raised approximately $16,000 to support the arts program in Worcester County Public Schools. And I want to especially thank the Worcester County Educational Foundation for sponsoring this Chamber Music by the Sea Festival, and especially Olivia Momay from the Worcester County Educational Foundation for her hard work throughout this entire time. So if you happen to be an art teacher or a music teacher, apply for the grants when they're available, because we have money to distribute thanks to the Chamber Music by the Sea Festival. And I have one more thing.
No problem.
In 1960, at Fourth Ward Elementary School, a group of 33 students came together. We didn't have pre-K because that was private and our parents couldn't afford it. We didn't have kindergarten because that was private and our parents couldn't afford it. But 33 kids showed up at Fourth Ward Elementary School, a public school located in Danville, Pennsylvania. And this is my first grade picture. And I keep this with me in my office at Salisbury University because it reminds me of the power of public education. Public education is the key to allowing every individual an equal opportunity to succeed in our world, in our very complicated world. And it wasn't for my teachers putting up with me way back once upon a time. And incidentally, I was a runner. The educators know what that means. I I was a runner, and I was pretty fast, incidentally. But that's a story for another time. But my point being is that over the last 65 years, give or take, public education has changed. And you saw some really great examples today of how public education continues to evolve and continues to change to meet the needs of our students. And the biggest change over the last 60-plus years is the fact that when I went to school, we had a program, and everyone was expected to meet that program because we all know that us baby boomers, there's 75 million of us. And if a student didn't make it, that was okay, because there were 74,999,999 other students could possibly do it. Today it's very different because of two reasons. One is fewer kids are being born, demographic changes, and two, our economy changes, and especially driven by technology each and every day. So now more than any other time in our lifetime, every student counts. Every student counts. And we need every student to be successful, because I need you folks to pay my Social Security. You're my 401k. And every young person in America is my 401k, because I'm relying on you to be highly successful so that you can help pay my Social Security, and you can provide the medical care that I'm going to need when I get dementia, or the medical care I need when I need a hip replacement or a new brain transplant, or whatever happens to be in the future. So we're investing in public education because we know it makes sense. It makes sense for these kids, but it also makes sense for future generations. The biggest change that's been brought over the last 65 years in my lifetime in working in public education for over 50 years is the change in technology, and that will continue to evolve. So I want to thank everyone for your hard work and those examples that we saw today, and there's those examples that we see every day to help this generation, because we need you. There's not 75 million of us. We need each and every one of you to be successful. And you're stepping into a world that we can only imagine. And I know my first grade teacher, Miss Faust, back in 1960, looked at us as the class of 1972 and thought, oh my goodness gracious, will these kids ever make it? Well, we did. We did make it, and we're continuing to make it each and every day. So I thank everyone for all you're doing to help our students be successful. If you want to try to identify which kid is me, you can do so when the board meeting concludes today. But I keep this in my office at Salisbury University. I look at it all the time because it reminds me of the power of public education and what public education can do, and the hope and dreams that our teachers in the Danville Everett School District had for us. And today we have the same hopes and dreams for all of you sitting here representing those 6,800 students in our school system. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Andes. Mr. Buchanan?
Dr. Andes, I'm really impressed with that photo. My question to you is, they had cameras back then?
Black and white.
I'm going to give another little shout out. I did it at last month's in regard to at the board meeting in regard to Phil Cropper's brainchild of the Pines Cafe, and since that time I've been following on social media where he's posting pictures of the progress that he's doing with that cafe. And just to remind everybody, it was a partnership with Worcester County Technical High School culinary program and Tidal Health. And the thing that I'm really happy about is that this concept of interaction with community and offering services and products, personally I think is vital to the education of tech students. when the time comes for them to enter their career. I think it must be contagious what Chef Phil has done, because from what I understand, the Worcester Tech Print Shop, which falls under the graphic design program, is also gearing up to offer products and services to the community. So what I say is, well done, Worcester Tech. I like the vision. And I applaud the energy of the staff to add this particular unique to Worcester County Schools dimension to their program. And but this is something that all teachers do. You know, it just doesn't stop at a classroom. To put in the extra time and the effort for their students. So, well done again.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Smack?
Now to Dr. Andy's class of 1972.
72.
And you a track star. First, second, or huh? Congratulations to you. Well, it's been a long summer and busy summer. I want to thank my wife. She's been under the weather. Thyroid problem, and some things I can remember and some things I can't remember because I have more concern about my wife. She comes first.
I understand.
So
we're all praying for it.
When I tell y'all out there, all this around here, that I love y'all, it comes from my heart.
Appreciate that.
Y'all been here several times, and I was saying, I love y'all. That comes from my heart. I want to thank all these principals, assistant principals, and everybody. You're going to have a long task for 2025. But you keep loving people, you'll get through. And I want to thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mack. Ms. Addis, Mr. Gordy.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to, on behalf of the entire board, I think, commend Mr. Taylor and all of you for your enthusiastic support of the United Way. That is really commendable. All of you work together. I do hope the fact that he mentions needing administrators at Stockton Elementary does not influence your opinion about the United Way. Also, we will be starting a brief fund, maybe after this meeting, for counseling for Miss McCombus's dog. So if you all could, if you all could help out with that, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Quite information, and I appreciate it all. It's a lot to take in today. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Taylor for our announcements. Mr. Taylor?
We have just a few announcements today before we close our meeting. As I said earlier, school's right around the corner, and this coming week we start our back to school and open houses at our schools. And I'm just going to roughly go down some of the ones that I have in place right now. First and foremost, again, all teachers to Worcester County come back to work on Monday the 26th. Then on the 27th, BIS will host their open house, back to school open house from 5 to 7. August the 28th, Stephen Decatur Middle will have theirs from 5 to 7. Snow Hill Elementary School pre-K 4 to 5. And the Snow Hill area bash, as we heard a little bit today, that's the Snow Hill area schools, will be from 5 to 7, with Cedar Chapel holding theirs from 3 to 5. So that's always a neat event, and it's usually held right out in front of the schools. And then on the same day at 3 o'clock up at Buckingham on the Blacktop, we'll be holding their open house back to school, again at Buckingham Elementary from 3 to 5, and that will be out on the Blacktop, as I understand it. Then the next day, August the 29th, Pocomoke Elementary School will be holding theirs from 3 to 6. Pocomoke Middle School from 5 to 7. Pocomoke High School 3 to 5. And then Ocean City Elementary School will hold theirs in the morning from 10 to 12. And Stephen Decatur High School will hold their Freshman Seahawk Day on the 29th from 9 to 12. Shaw Elementary School will hold theirs that day from 9 to 12. And Worcester Technical High School will hold theirs from 1 to 3, again on the 29th. And the big day, September the 3rd, we open our 14 schools to welcome back a little over 6,800 kids. And as I said earlier, we're looking forward to traveling the county. Board members, there's a schedule in your packet today. If you could let Dawn know where you would like to meet us. I know some go part of the day or a few schools, whatever you can do, with our state board president making a visit with us for a couple schools first thing that morning. So again, an exciting day coming. We're geared up now the next 2 weeks with these events, and then opening school on September the 3rd. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Fronte.
Appreciate that. Our next regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting will be held on Tuesday, September 17th, in this Sarah D. Thompson Board Meeting Room at the Worcester County Board of Education Central Office here in Newark, Maryland. The open session will begin at 10:30 and immediately consider voting to convene in closed session under general provisions of Article 3-305B of the Annotated Code of Maryland. The board will reconvene in open session at 12:30, and the board meeting information is posted on our website, www.worcesterk12.org, located under board meetings and board docs. And that will pretty much do it. I need a motion to adjourn the meeting and a second.
Motion.
A motion by Mr. Smack.
Second.
A second by Mr. Buchanan. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.